Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Otakuology Podcast. I'm your host, Otaku Mike. With me, as always, is Jen. He's not a traitor, Graves. And
Never a traitor.
today we're talking about Lazarus, Episode 8. I don't remember what the name of this episode's called.
Real folk blues.
No, it's not Real Folk Blues.
No, but it could be, right?
I always forget. So, like, when I'm watching this on HBO Max, it always pushes me to the next episode because I want to rewatch it. So I have to go and in and be like, okay, what episode were we on? And I have to go look at the podcast and be like, okay, what episode are we doing this time? Because we're a little bit ahead of our schedule for our pre-recorded stuff and whatnot, you know?
Yeah.
So I always forget what episode we're covering. I know it's weird to say that, but
Yeah.
whenever I'm like, okay, because we'll have a couple of them stockpiled and whatnot. I'm like, okay, which one did I release this week? I don't remember which one I released this week. Let me go check. Let me go look.
I mean, I do part of the same thing, so.
Yeah. But I feel like we got a good episode this week. I actually really enjoyed this episode for the most part.
I have to agree. This was a lot more enjoyable, I think, than some of the other ones.
Even though we didn't push the story narratively along.
Yeah.
It was a solid episode, which we only have a few episodes left. I think there's 13 or 14 episodes in this season.
Yeah.
I've been seeing things on my feed that there might be a second season. They're fucking running out of days by the end of this episode.
Yeah, they're down to 12.
They're on 12 days. And I'm like, how the fuck are they going to stretch this into a second season?
Yep. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, are we gonna have a new thing where it's the Hopna is something else?
I keep seeing things like, oh man, what will fix Lazarus? Blah blah blah. When Lazarus goes into a season 2, will it get fixed? And I'm like, this show isn't terrible. It has its ups and downs.
Yeah.
But it's not a terrible, bad show. I wonder if people think with Shinichiro Watanabe stuff, it has to be good all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Why can't we just go on this journey and just
you can't go on that journey.
No?
I mean, I feel like that's probably what they're telling us. You're not allowed to go on that journey.
I don't know. Why can't we just sit back and enjoy it? Why do we have to have all these fucking internet essays about anime, you know? And why it's so terrible and shit.
You know why.
For the clicks and the baits.
Yes, for the clickbaits.
For the clickbaits.
For the clickbaits.
The clickbaits. Well, we ended our last episode with a pretty big cliffhanger, didn't we, Jen?
Yeah, we did. We
our
left
girl,
it where Chris was missing.
Yeah, our girl Chris went missing. And that's where we pick up in this particular episode. Leland gets back to the hideout, I guess you would call it. The barbershop hideout.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, where's Chris? What's going on? And everybody seems to be really on edge because of what they found out at the end of the last episode with Hirsch. Hirsch worked with Skinner and worked on Hopna. Which...
Yeah, he did.
Did you get the vibe that Hirsch knew this was coming?
For her?
Yeah.
I don't think Hirsch knew. I think that Chris already gave her the foreknowledge, though, because of the bracelet thing where she said, if I can't ever check in within 3 days, make sure that mine will kill me off.
Well, no, I meant like about them finding out about Hirsch working with Skinner.
Oh, did I think that we were going to get to that point?
Yeah, like, do you think she knew that was coming? Because she seemed very uneasy in this episode, at the beginning of this episode.
I mean, she did say it that they were going to find it out eventually.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
It was interesting how they played it. I felt like,
yeah,
in a sense, like she seemed very like unease and stuff, and she's like, "I gotta tell you something about Chris," and then they're like, "No, we gotta talk about this right here before we talk about Chris," which we find out that Chris isn't Chris. Chris is actually Alexandria, who she is a Russian spy.
That was kind of weird.
You think so?
Yeah, I was like, the fuck?
How was it weird?
Alexandria? How was it weird?
Yeah.
It was weird just knowing like why nobody was actually looking for her, being a Russian spy, and not knowing that she like faked her death, because we've never had anything mentioned that way before.
No. The only thing we know about her is she's really good at like resisting poison and alcohol.
Yeah.
Which we kind of figured, which she wasn't lying. Remember in that like an early episode, she's like, "Oh, I was a spy."
Yeah, it was 2 episodes back whenever they were at the club.
She wasn't lying about it.
Yeah.
Even though we all thought she was lying about it, the characters thought she was lying about it.
Yeah, we did.
Turns out she just defected. She was like, "I don't want to do this no more. Let's leave." Which it made me interested to like know like why exactly they would bring her onto the team if they knew like they couldn't necessarily 100% trust her. Because Hirsch even points out in this episode that like I didn't know if we could trust her, and stuff like that. Maybe she went back and defected again. Like she did like a double defect or something. I don't know what you would call it.
I don't know. I thought that's one of the things she told Hirsch was that, for you to basically be able to trust me for being a spy, I need you to make sure that you give me that thing for the 3 days or whatever, because then I believe that you can trust me knowing that.
Okay. I guess that makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
But they end up finding out that, well, we'll get into it, but we move into Chris meeting the spies that are Russian. She gets taken to like an oil carrier, an oil like offshore place.
Yeah. Did you know the main 2 characters' names in that?
So I think there was Sergey and Iga.
Okay.
Sergey was the guy, and Iga was Chris's handler / lover or girlfriend, which we find out that Chris is a lesbian. Pretty interesting.
I mean, she may be bisexual.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't 100% know if she is just a lesbian.
But we see Sergey, and Sergey is like, "Oh, you're a traitor. Where do you know where you are?" And she's like, "I think we're in like the Arctic," which she's not wrong. Yeah, she's not wrong. Yeah. They're like off the coast of like Russia and like, is it the Netherlands? I think they're off at.
No, I think they're kind of in Russian waters.
Okay. And he very much views her as like a traitor, and all traitor must die is what he sees her as.
Yeah. Which is really weird that what's the other girl's name?
Iga or Iga? Igna, or I think her name is.
Yeah, that she kind of like kept stepping away to give the guy a chance to like beat her up. You know what I'm saying? Like you'd think that that wasn't there. But I mean, we did kind of have that little bit of like the lovers quarrel.
Yeah.
Um, just because of um
Chris
how
and
she said like I want to kill you.
yeah, like Chris and her's relationship.
Yeah, yeah. Like you knew it was either like really close friendship
Uh-huh.
where she feels like she betrayed her, or like really close lovers.
I think they were really close lovers. That's how I
Well,
see it.
well, yeah. I just mean before that, like when that first initially happened, like those
Yeah,
were
yeah.
your two avenues that you could go down. So when it was like, oh yeah, we were lovers, I was like, I don't think it was that far of a jump to say that or not. So
But we end up finding out that she's been gone for years. They thought she was dead for years. And we come to find out that she basically changed her entire appearance. Except for her
yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
Except for her.
I really want to know what she looked like before.
Yes, but we do not get that in this episode.
We don't.
We just get like a back of the head like shot. Like in a flashback.
Well, I mean, we kind of get like the lips and down.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not very much of like a this is what she looked like, which that's what I wanted to see is like what the hell does she look like when she was a spy? Like,
Yeah,
was it a drastic change? You know?
yeah. I don't know. There was one weird thing that I thought of, which was after Axel came and he had her, like
Mm-hmm.
after she kind of fainted in his arms. It showed a close up of her face or whatever, and it was kind of weird because it looked like she has all this blonde hair, and it looked like if you looked in between like where her part was, that there was this one long white hair that was going down her face. And I was like, I
Interesting.
wonder how much older she actually is. Because remember when they had the whole conversation on the rooftop with the flamethrower last episode,
Wasn't she like they said she was 40?
they said, "Oh, are you in your
Oh
30s?"
yeah.
And she said nothing. And then um, the little guy was like, "Oh
Leland.
no," Leland, yeah, was like, "Oh no, you have to be in this." And then she goes, "Well, I'm not telling you." "Oh no, then you have to be older than that." And then she said something else. So like by the end of it, it almost seemed like he made her like 50 years old.
I don't know that. I mean, I would say probably late 30s, maybe, if
Yeah,
possible. Maybe late 30s, maybe 40. Because
yeah,
she
yeah.
said Doug was 40, and Doug got really offended when that happened.
And then he's like, "I'm only like 28."
I'm only like 28. But yeah, but we end up going back to the team Lazarus. They find out about what happened to Chris, and they all just like leave to go help her without like the jurisdiction of Lazarus and stuff like that. We find out they work with like Lazarus works with like the NSA, I think it is.
Yes,
Remember
as the
correctly?
Fall Guys.
As the Fall Guys. And they're like, okay, we're going to do this without Lazarus. They leave, they go off to like the Netherlands or somewhere like that. They were somewhere close to Russia, but they can't get in. And they actually do end up getting help from Hirsch. She sends like a helicopter, and they end up at this like little research facility where Elena can use her computer magic, is what they like to say,
Yeah,
and which I love the part in this where it was a little bit that kept coming up. It was where Elena was hacking and stuff into the facility, and we see like the researchers in the background, and they're like they get excited or get like worried, like oh what's gonna happen?
like,
They're
oh
like
yeah,
ooh oh yeah ooh, and they're like yeah.
yeah. I thought that was pretty crazy too.
That was pretty funny.
Because like you just never, and the amount of like computers they brought her, and it looked like she only used 4, was
Yeah.
like crazy too. Like there's eight or nine computers there, and she's like only using part of them. And you're like, what is
Yeah,
going
what's
on
going
here?
on? Yeah. But what happens next? Like, set up this plan that they decide to do.
Um, so they try to like rent a car. They try to see if a plane can drop them off. They can't do any of those. Like everything's kind of cut off. But we have where Hirsch basically gets them some kind of aircraft that's going to be able to take them to some kind of like satellite spot in the Netherlands.
Yeah, it was like the research facility, I think it was.
Yeah, where they were going to be able to drop off
Elena.
Elena to be able to hack the computers and then send the rest of the people out. So they had this big like freighter that they had, which was a decoy. Nobody was on it except for
Doug was
crap.
on it.
Doug was on it, and then had like a little boat. Like this, it seemed like really like spy because a little boat like popped out of the back of it.
Yeah.
And they ended up crashing that into the facility, and then Doug was on the boat going around, which I might add, remind me to come back to this because there's a little more I need to add on about Doug.
Okay.
But then we had where Axel and Leland actually had like this boat with like a white cover over
I
it.
love their fake iceberg.
Yeah, like it made it look like an iceberg, and you're just sitting there like, that can't be possible. Like,
That was
no,
probably like the funniest plan I think I've ever seen. Like,
yeah.
and
Well, and
it
his
works for a while.
yeah, and his little robot was cool. It was like the little robotic
Seagull?
seagull,
Yeah, yeah.
and I mean that was pretty cool. I really liked that part because I mean all the other things we've seen are these big kind of like other things of whatever they are, and then this one like actually looked like something in disguise.
Yeah, yeah. But it
So
was fun. It was fun to see like that little like them to just have a robot seagull.
yeah,
It's very specific because seagulls aren't like everywhere. You know, they're usually
right,
around like the water.
right,
So I don't think he could use this in the city.
right.
I mean, maybe he could. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
somewhere else with seagulls. But I mean, that also is like, well, they have the potential to do like other stuff like that. Why haven't they done that before yet?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I kind of am waiting for is will there be something else like that?
But I thought it was pretty creative. I thought it was a pretty creative, like little like surveillance thing that they had.
It was, and
Um,
I bet Axel's balls were cold.
oh yeah, when he got into like the wetsuit
Yeah,
and he was using that, like I got real big like Metal Gear Solid vibes at this moment.
yeah,
Where he's using like the wetsuit with like the torpedo thing that he was on,
yeah,
which he gets out of his wetsuit and he has on like a set of clothes under it too.
yeah.
Like
He
he
does.
has a jacket, shirt, pants. And I'm like, did he bring this stuff with him or was it just under his wetsuit?
He had to be under his wetsuit.
So I was like, how did he? I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, it's whatever it is, you know. I think he should have just stayed in his wetsuit probably. It would probably have helped better with the cold. But
This is true. I mean, it probably would have helped him better, like sliding around places too.
yeah, yeah. But anyways, continue. Sorry, you wanted to bring
Um.
up Doug again.
Oh yeah. So where Doug was basically on the boat and he was shooting like sniping and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, man, Doug's got to have more background than what we were told originally. On oh well, he's just
A
you know
student.
he's just Doug and he did stuff at this place and all that other jazz and it's like no, Doug's got to have a little more. I mean, Doug was basically like sitting there like sniping people down and all this other stuff.
I feel like we're gonna get more backstory for the other characters. Because I think the one after this they lean more towards Leland in the next episode.
Yeah.
So I can see them possibly leaning in towards like Doug, because Elena got an episode too, you know?
Yeah,
So like why wouldn't Doug get an episode? Which I think he
this is
deserves an
true.
episode because he's a pretty cool character, you know?
This is true. I mean, maybe we'll have some more ones for all the rest of the characters to kind of fill them out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we've had where people have talked, but we haven't had anything that was like a pure backstory. I feel like,
Yeah. Kind of like this
unless it was
episode.
one where they went, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have one like, even though we went to the place for Elena, we didn't have a backstory really. I feel like it was like we knew, but it was only through the events that happened currently.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything else of like how she got out, maybe how she
Hmm.
got into hacking and some other stuff like that, which could kind of be like its own story in itself, where we do have flashbacks and stuff.
Yeah. I
Um,
I did I did go through like a little bit of a couple synopsises
yeah,
on HBO just to see like where this might be going. Like slight spoilers, you know.
yeah.
Like they're bringing back the hacker later. What's her name? I forget what her name was. The one's like
Um,
hardcore.
yeah, it's like Candy something,
Andy
something
something. I don't know
Candy.
what her name is.
Yeah, the
Uh,
Candy one. Let's
yeah,
just call
they
it.
bring her back, and apparently, like later on, they're gonna meet Leland's parents
Yeah,
at one point. So they're gonna go from there. I think that's the next episode. Actually, it's when they meet Leland's parents. But we end up getting this really cool scene between Sergey and Chris, where like he's like hitting her around, throwing her around in this chair. Like I know it's a folding chair, but it's gotta add some weight to like Chris because he is just throwing her around like a rag doll in this scene. But I have to say, I really like this scene where she's like fighting with him in the chair. I thought was really, really well animated. The scene where like she like bounces off the wall and starts kicking him and stuff.
yeah,
Um, I just really liked that scene. I thought it was a very creative way to like see a fight in that scene. But we do get the plan starts to sort of unfold in this section where the Russians find out that the ship is a decoy. They're shooting at people left and right. Axel's trying to infiltrate the oil rig, and Chris is out of captivity. And we actually do see Chris and Axel meet back up, and she asks him, "Why exactly are you here? Why are you saving me?" And like she's basically like I'm not worth saving, is what she says. And he is like, I don't care about who you were. I care about who you are at the moment. And I really like, especially in this episode, like it seems like the team has really come together,
yeah, yeah.
like really, really come together, and like are almost like a found family, I would say.
I agree, especially in this one where they were like, "Well, no, we don't care about like trying to finish the mission. We're going to go save Chris."
Yeah, we don't care about doing that. And when Leland's boat ends up exploding, like Doug goes after him
Yeah,
in that. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, Axel getting Chris and everything too. So I mean, we had a good range of things that happened, which I think one of the things with that was Hirsch couldn't really see it that way, but then everybody else kind of forced her to see it that way
Yeah.
by just what they were saying.
Yeah. No, that's definitely the case because I could definitely see Hirsch thinking that Chris was expendable
Yep.
in a sense. But I mean, in reality, she's a pretty like valued member of the team. They're all pretty value members of the team. I feel like 'cause they all bring something different to the table. Um, but getting to see her backstory and these
I
go
I
ahead.
also really want to know where, because she said they were all kind of like on a list. I kind of really want to know of who else was on this list. Why
And
were these people chosen,
yeah,
and how did they acquire them per se? Because the only one that we really know is Axel.
yeah, because they get him to escape prison. Yeah, I mean that would be interesting to see like who else was on the list, or like maybe like like kind of like Umbrella Academy. They had the other like team, the Sparrow Academy.
Yeah,
What if there was like a team that like is also out there with like the NSA and is also like a little project or Lazarus project thing or whatever,
yeah, yeah,
that's also looking, because we end up finding out that the Russians are actually looking for Skinner. They don't really outright say it, but they are looking for Skinner for like Hopna and stuff like that. They ask Chris, but Chris is like, I don't know where Skinner is.
yeah,
Um, and we get this really, I love the fight scenes where they're trying to infiltrate the oil rig, and like Axel gets like the Sergey gets like the jump on Axel at one point, and another guy comes around, and Leland like crashes the seagull um, drone into this guy's head, and
yeah,
which gives Axel enough time to like get away, and then they're using the crane to like whip this giant tube around, like causing damage and stuff, which was pretty cool. Um, and we end up getting this scene where it's Igna and Chris. Chris is wounded, and the place is on fire at the moment. And Igna is like, "Oh, I wanted to kill you," and Chris is like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I always wanted you to kill me." And we end up finding out that Chris was in this like airport incident. We don't tell you what the airport incident was. It's just she was in an incident, and she ends up. I remember they said she was technically dead, but
yeah,
then was revived, or she came back, and she used it to basically get away from the Russian spies, and she wanted to leave the spy world and take her girlfriend handler with her. And she knew if she took her with her, like they were gonna die, or she was gonna die,
yeah.
uh, because of like what happened if she just up and left. So she had to like fake her death.
Well,
And,
and she did tell us that, too.
yeah,
She said that basically if she just up and left, then people would come looking for her
yeah,
because there was no body to like hide. Yet if they had it where she was proclaimed dead, then nobody's going to look for a dead body.
that is true. That is true. Um, and we get this really touching scene where like she wants to kill her, Igna wants to kill her, and she like grabs her hand, and they like kind of hold hands, and we get the fucking radical over here, Sergey, and he's like, all traitors must die. When he kills Igna, which is a very sad scene. Like, it was a powerful scene, I felt like. I've heard,
Yeah, I feel like it was that last, like, well, now I've told you that I love you and everything else,
yeah,
and that now, like, I'm prepared to Inigo Montoya,
yeah, yeah,
basically.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
it was a very powerful scene of seeing her like screaming and in pain and stuff.
yeah,
Chris, over what happened, and like they end up, her and Axel end up barely making it out, going into the freezing water. And for a moment there, I thought they were gonna almost die because they kept getting pulled.
I was confused where he was standing at
Yeah,
underwater and that all the stuff is like falling kind of down on top of him. I was like, I am so confused. And then it was really funny because I kind of thought about it like old school cartoons. I said this would be the great part to be like, and stay tuned for next week when we tell you how they get out of this. I was like, oh, if they did that, I'd be so pissed right
Oh
now.
man, yeah. But they end up finding the little jet propulsion torpedo underwater thing that Axel um, had, and they shoot themselves out into the water, and like they get like Doug and Leland are like ecstatic that they're alive, and Axel's like, "Yeah, we're alive," you know. And then you see all the people around Elena cheering, like, "Oh yeah, they did it! They did it!" I love the little touch where the one guy had a donut in his mouth.
Yeah.
Just all the little details and stuff. Um, and then it ends like it's a very almost somber ending, and they're still left at square one with not really knowing where Skinner is. Like we're back at square one, you know.
Yeah, which, I mean, anything that we're going to know about Skinner is going to be something from the last episode. Because, again,
Yeah,
like, we use this one to go save Chris. So, like, we don't know shit with this mission. It was just going to save Chris. So
yeah,
there wasn't any part of it to go and find anything extra out.
that is true. That is true.
So, like, I would say we can't even refer to this one except in the terms of like finding anything out about Skinner except for going off of the last one. And I mean,
Yeah,
they could have almost cut off the part where Chris got kidnapped, and like if they wanted to, I mean, I know why they did it was for more like excitement, but if they really wanted to, they could have completely left this one out altogether where we didn't know anything about it. And I don't know if it would change the story at all, except for maybe like
I
a
mean,
weird mood with
here
Chris. But
here's the thing. We have like we said, like you said before, like we have so little detail on these characters.
yeah,
It's good for them to get their own character centric focused episode. I felt like
yeah, yeah,
I felt that way with Elena in this one. Like this is a very solid episode, regardless if it pushes the story along, you
right,
know. But it was a solid episode. The drama was really good. The action was really good. Like there were little details where like Axel was like taking down this guy and like shoots him in the head, you know, and how he just did all this different stuff and how they worked together as a team,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know. I just thought it was a very very solid episode
yeah, yeah,
in my personal opinion. Like I would give this like a 4 out of 5. It was solid.
yeah. No, I agree with that. I feel like it broke up the monotony of the other ones.
Yes, because seeing as how we didn't really like the last episode that much,
Oh, I mean the last few episodes.
like the last what, like two?
Yeah,
I
two or
think
three. Yeah,
no, it has to be two. I want to say I don't remember. They all kind of start to meld together a little bit.
yeah, yeah,
If I'm gonna be honest.
yeah. And I think that's kind of one of the other problems with this is like, which I would say it's kind of like with all of them, all the shows that kind of take place in this universe, is if you kind of start watching them back to back, it does all seem like it bleeds together pretty well,
Mm-hmm.
even though they're all standalone stories per episode. So I feel like the thing that really leaves an impression on us with this show in particular is the fact that we're covering it week by week instead of trying to cover it like all at once.
Yeah, yeah,
While, there are some of the other ones like Sakamoto Days, I feel like we could cover like 3 episodes at once. It would be like pretty good. Everything else, we'd have a lot enough to cover. This one though, I feel like you kind of got to stew in it for the meaning and everything, and to
yeah,
not feel so overwhelmed with it.
yeah. And I very much feel like there are layers to this story as a whole.
Yeah,
Like I feel like we could possibly like go back and like rewatch previous episodes and possibly pick up on things we didn't know about or missed. You know, um, like I feel like there's probably like hidden details and stuff that we're missing at points.
Maybe.
But I thought this was a very, very good episode. Like I don't really have any faults with it.
Yeah.
I guess the only one is there's no new Skinner information, but I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Damn it! No new Skinner information.
No new Skinner information.
Fuck.
Oh man. But yeah,
But
no.
I mean, honestly, like I don't think I'm upset with that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think this has run us on such like a wild like chicken run that honestly, like taking a break from the Skinner stuff, I think is much needed.
Yeah.
So,
But Jen,
yes.
where can they find you?
You can find me at Manga Restart on Instagram. You can find me at Bard's Tavern on Instagram. And of course, you can find me through Otakuology.
You can also find me at Otakuology on YouTube and all major podcast platforms and our Instagram. Make sure to rate and review the podcast. It helps people find our podcast. You can also find me at The Otaku Mike on YouTube, where I do my own thing, as well as Jen does his own thing on his stuff. So go check out our individual projects out. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
But stay tuned for the next episode, and we will, what, Jen?
We will see you next Tuesday.